And welcome, all of you. Like I said, I love if you could come on camera. It's so much more fun for me, but it's not all about me. So I'm happy whatever way you're comfortable with. The goal of today is to help answer any questions, any concerns, and give you the rule book for college admissions. So I always help students understand this process. If they play a sport or an instrument, it doesn't really matter. I give them the analogy. If they wanted to play soccer, right? Maybe they were young and you handed them a soccer ball and say, go win. They would look at you kind of oddly, like, win what? What do you want me to do with this ball? Hit hands, feet? That's kind of what we're doing to them with college admissions. We tell them just go get good grades and test scores, and you should probably do something nice for your community. And then they're just going, but I have no idea why I'm doing all of this. And they either get frustrated or they are like, well, I'll just do it because my parent told me to do it. So I want to share with you today so you can also share with your student. I'm also going to be offering you each a complimentary discovery call with your student, because sometimes hearing a complete stranger, an adult professional in this area, they listen. You might have told them the same thing 5 times, but for whatever reason I say it and they're like, oh my gosh, I've got to do that. That's super important. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll give you a brief background of myself so you know why you'd want to listen. So I'm actually the founder and CEO of College Ready. Our goal is to help students figure out what are their gifts, what are their talents, their core values, and what will help them prepare for college. So last year, our students received over $17.6 million in scholarships. This was on top of need-based. So we help students very uniquely. There's nobody else in that I know of that does what we do. We focus on not only the academic fit, which is what does the student want to do academically at that university, but we also talk about the social fit. Because if a student gets to a school that they are not feeling part of, they are going to want to come home. And that is a very stressful and expensive situation. Then we also help financially. Even my multi-millionaire clients would prefer to use their college money as a down payment on their child's home if they could get a merit scholarship and have them earn it. So I speak to all 3 of those, and I'm going to share that today. A little bit of my background. I grew up in Orange County, California, a small town called Laguna Beach. A lot of people have heard about it. And my graduating class was 200 people. We had 1 counselor for our whole school. And I never got a chance to meet that person. I was a good student and they just figured, she's going to be okay. The problem was neither of my parents went to college. And I was really lost, but I didn't even know the questions to ask. So I applied to 2 schools, San Diego State and University of Colorado. My big plan was to surf or ski. That was it. So I don't know if there's any of you in that world, but I didn't have a strategy. I didn't really know what I want to major in. I remember asking my parents, I have no idea what I want to major in or what I want to do. Well, that is still going on today. And so back in 2008, my oldest was in 8th grade and he came home and said, Mom, I know exactly what I want to do when I grow up. And I'm like, really? Because I really didn't. And I changed my major 5 times and it was disaster. And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, all right, let's hear it. And he says, I want to be a brain surgeon. Like, so matter of fact. And I was like, oh, great. Of course you do. And then I turned around and I panicked because there was no medicine in my family. So I was a parent very similar to you sitting in this room thinking, how can I possibly help my child be the best they can be and have a great future? So I went back to college and I got my master's degree, and then I got my certification in college consulting. And then I toured 25 colleges a semester. And then the reality hit. My firstborn actually did what I recommended, and he had 7 full ride offers. He went to Harvard pre-med, 4 years, debt-free, went on to UC San Diego Medical School, and is now an orthopedic surgeon at UCLA. He was my first test run of this process. Since then, my second child, his younger sister, went to University of Alabama. Yes, we live in California. I don't still understand why that was a good fit for her, but she loved it. And she's now a registered pediatric nurse. My stepson is at San Francisco State doing broadcasting. And my youngest is leaving for Prague next week to study international business. And she's getting her degree in 3 years in business, fully accredited in the US and in Europe for $27,000. So I can tell you that I have seriously walked most of the walks that these students and families have gone through. My goal today to set intentions is to answer your questions and give you the rules of the game. Because once you know the rules of the game, the rest of the game is much easier to play. If you have questions, feel free just to come off mute and ask them. I'm not really big on lecturing. I'm happy to share as much as I can, but I would rather answer your questions. If you are the kind of person who would rather put them in the chat, that is okay. I'm happy to answer them via chat. I'm also going to drop a link into the chat. Because you have been on the call, you will get a complimentary discovery session. And so I want to make sure you get that. And I'm going to put that in there for you. And so if you want to take advantage of that, where you get to be with your student and have those discussions, please feel free to do that. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Are there any specific questions you all want me to cover? If so, come off mute, let me know, or put them in the chat. If not, I'm just going to share what I think all families have asked questions about. All right, here to learn. Love it. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. So the number one thing that colleges are looking for, I don't think it's a surprise, is their GPA. Their GPA with rigor. A lot of times students will ask me, is it better to have a 4.0 with no rigor, no challenging honors, college prep, dual enrollment, AP, IB, college, all of that? Or is it better to have some rigor with maybe a B or something? And honestly, rigor is critical. They want to know that you can do more than just high school level work. So having the right number of AP classes or dual enrollment or IB, that is super important depending on where they want to go to college. Very, very important. Number one. Number two is testing. This has been a really tough time for students because they want to believe that it is test optional or test blind or whatever you want to call it. But this is what I want you as parents to hear is students do not want to test prep and they do not want to take a test. I've never had a student get excited about testing. But why is testing important? Even if a school is test blind, they have no place in the application to put it, our students are writing it in an essay. So after reading it in an essay, how optional is it? That is when students' eyes get really big. And especially for my youngers, my 8th grade, 9th grade, we don't know where testing is going to go. The second piece of testing, if they learn to test prep, they are not learning the material. They're learning how to beat a standardized test, which they're going to have all the way through college. Why not teach them now and have them have a successful college testing opportunity? The final point is testing is the quickest way to big time scholarships. If you do well on the PSAT, a student can earn their own free education. This is important. One, I mean, even if your family is happy to pay for it, and I do have those clients, it is something that's meaningful to them. They accomplish something very important. So what we do with our students is we help them to put together a test strategy. When to take the test, which test is best for them, how many times to take it, in which season to take it, and how to prepare for it based on their learning style. So testing is very real. I have a question. All right, thanks, Karen. My 8th grader is not in any honors right now. Can she still go into honors or AP classes in high school? So this is why I love working with 8th graders. They still have time, but you're going to need to be an advocate. If they're taking all regular classes, they're going to want to automatically put them in all regular classes in high school. I highly recommend that you be an advocate and ask them to be able to test to show proof that they can have at least one honors or college prep or AP. Not all freshmen are allowed to take an AP, just one, just so they get, used to what does that look like. For those of you who maybe didn't take AP classes or maybe were on a different path or didn't go to college, whatever that may be, AP classes are just a faster version of the regular. So it means that for some students, they love it. For some students, it's a little overwhelming. So it's better if they take one and see how that feels. So you will have to advocate. When should you ask them? That is a very good question. The best time to ask them is the spring semester of the 8th grade year. So have her do really, really well and, all A's, get super, super great grades. And then say, you know what, I don't know if she's being fully challenged. I'd like to, help her get ahead. Is there a way that we can start out in honors English or start out in algebra 2 or start out in Spanish 2 it starts with, you can have that conversation at your middle school, but when that high school comes to the middle school and says, it's time to, make your classes for next year, that is the critical point where you stand up and you say, we need to do a little something more. And it could be because your 8th grade doesn't offer honors. The other thing that you can do is get a jump start by taking a community college class the summer before 9th grade. It is a great way for them to prepare for high school. And it's their least busy summer. So hopefully that helps, Karen. All right, number 3, you're welcome, is community service. All right, I don't think that's surprising to anyone, but I think what I will share with you is surprising. So there's good, better, and best community service. We help our students formulate the best. So what is good? Good community service is doing anything for your community, right? You're helping somebody else out. But can a student really write about how amazing it was to be a tutor or to feed the homeless or to hand out water at Raise for the Cure? These things are all good, right? Don't get me wrong, they're not bad, but colleges are not going to go, wow, that was amazing. They're going to be like, okay, they checked the box. So then what is better? Better is doing something that they want to do, that they're passionate about. That is what we really spend a lot of time with our students, helping them understand. What are their core values? What are their passions? What is that service that they can write an amazing essay about? That is game changing. So what we do at College Ready is what we call passion with purpose, where we do this and we guide the student. Because keep in mind, Starting a community service project is kind of like starting your own business. It's pretty intimidating for an adult, let alone a teenager. So we help them to get clear on what are they passionate about and their core values. Then we help them to be an advocate. What are the things they would like to see changed in the world? And then we help them lead others to create change. Because we are a nationwide organization, our students can connect with other students across the US and some globally. That gives them a national or international community service project. We've done hundreds and hundreds of these, and these are really what wins the big scholarships, and they make for brilliant essays. The challenging part is when a parent tries to do this, the parent will give great suggestions and the student will be like, no, 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 because that's not their passion. And then they get frustrated. And then it leads to, or at least in my family, maybe not in your family, but in my family, it just really leads to a bit of conflict where when we do it as a structured part of the program and we give them, great lead-ins, they really enjoy it. And that essay, makes you laugh, makes you cry. It's such an amazing opportunity. So that's number 3. Here's the bonus points for you, ladies. Colleges want to see a minimum of 200 service hours before they apply to college. That's in 3 years. So getting a jump start again, what? The summer right after 8th grade, boom, that's the brilliancy. So we start students in the college ready plan when they're in 8th grade so they can do all of this and grow it and build it. So when they're a senior, wow, they have this massive project doing amazing things. We have a student this year who got a full ride into Vanderbilt based on her Passion with Purpose project. She also won a $25,000 scholarship for the Coca-Cola company. These are big time money that has nothing to do with your finances. So I just wanted you kind of to get a mindset of what that looks like. So we do that with our students. The next thing, number 4, is extracurricular. So extracurricular could be anything from music to drama to a sport. Think of it this way, it's anything after school. So it cannot be part of school. It has to be after school. Colleges want to know, what did they do? How many years did they do it? How many weeks per year and how many hours per week? Yes, they're trying to figure out how your child spends their free time. If they put, I've been on, I game 10 hours, 20 hours a week, if they're not going to go into the gaming major, that is not going to bode well for them. So it's important that you think about this and help your child prepare. Colleges are going to have them rank the top 10 activities, honors, and awards based on what colleges believe are important. An international opportunity obviously is better than a national, which is better than a regional, which is better than a local, which is better than a school. So it is going to 5 clubs at the school and spending all this time and energy because they think that's what colleges want. That's what leads to burnout. And that's the lowest level of activity. So there are points and there are strategies of what colleges are looking for. And it's based on the student, what they want to major in and where they want to go to college. So it's completely custom. Perfect. Becky, how do you document service hours when it is your own project? Well, unfortunately, if you do it on your own as a family, you have to chase down somebody who is a non-parent adult to sign off on everything. Our students have the ability to have me certify everything because I am the certifier for the Presidential Award and the Congressional Award. Our students can receive 8 national gold, silver, and bronze awards, and I'm the certifier for all of it. So the challenge is if you do it on your own, they have to ask an adult that is not a parent to do all of that. So hopefully that makes sense. Extracurriculars, back to that. Extracurriculars are the best way to get a solid essay. So think about why they're doing it. Are they doing it because they want to do it? Or are they doing it because somebody told them that they thought that they should do it? Internships, research projects, we help our students get all of those opportunities because those are brilliant essay topics. So thinking about extracurriculars is very important. Then we get into leadership. Colleges are looking for leaders. As a matter of fact, they are looking for quiet leaders and outgoing leaders. So if you have an introvert, there is a lot they can do to show leadership. If you have an extrovert, it's a little bit easier because leadership comes a little more naturally. So leadership is very important. So we help our students plan out as soon as they start with us, how they are going to accomplish the leadership they need for their college application. From there, it goes to letters of recommendation. This is a very important point. For all those students who went camera off, there will be no letter of recommendation. So if your student is still doing some of their world online, please tell them, turn on your camera, because there's no way to have a relationship when the teacher is talking to themselves. Being strategic about who writes it, what they write about. Oh, let me let somebody else in. Who they write, what they write about, and that teacher, the recommender, is really good at writing. You know, we all know that maybe a second language teacher may not have as solid as writing skills as potentially an English teacher. So you want to make sure you're picking the right letters of recommendation, and your child will never see them. So you want to make sure that it's going to be a glowing letter of recommendation. So we help students prepare for who is the right person to ask, how will they ask, what will they provide? All of that is a strategy to get the best letters of recommendation. Then the essay. The essay has now become the second most important piece to the college application. It used to be a lot lower, but now, because test scores can be shown as optional, there's really less things to evaluate a student on. So we at College Ready help students get really clear. We show them what are the essay prompts on the day they start with us, and we map out a plan on how they will write each essay. I was working with a student yesterday on their essay prompts, and when they figured out that they had to write 27 essays for their college applications, I thought they were going to have a heart attack, until I showed them an algorithm that is in my student portal that takes and shows them the overlap so they can expand and contract and only write 5 essays. That was a deal that student was really, really excited about. So that gives you an idea. Now I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you how we help our students, because I think that's important. I don't want to just, tell you a bunch of information. I think showing you will give you a lot better understanding about how you go about doing this. Because to be honest, you can do this if you have an extra 20 to 30 hours a week to figure this out. Your student is definitely not the person to figure this out. It would be like asking them to buy you a home without being involved, because we all know the cost of college is the cost of some people's home. So I'm real honest with families and letting them know that this is definitely not the time to leave this to your 17 or 18-year-old. So hopefully you can see my mouse moving. This is Vincent. He's my fake student. We're now inside his portal. And I'm going to move some stuff around so you can see it. Every one of our students, we have built this custom portal for. It's password protected for the family. This is what we use to keep everything in control. Get rid of the overwhelm and simplify the process. What does that look like? Well, Vincent, he's a high school senior, so he has some to-dos he's working on, 7. He has some in progress and he has some completed. When students are young, we get to do this very gently and slow, and it just kind of feels normal. When we get students as a graduating senior, which we do, we just have to hope they're mature enough and we fire hose it, because they have to have it all in order to have a good application season. So all of my intellectual property is in here and I share it with my families. The next thing that this does is we can show students their exact chances of getting in anywhere in the world. So an example would be, let's just go after Stanford. Everybody knows that school. And let's just kind of take a look at 5% admittance. But what's really important here is only 73% graduate in 4 years. Most people are shocked by that. A lot of times it has a lot to do more with the student and the major that they've chosen.
Good morning, I do optometry. How can I help you?
Oh, well, let me mute you. Okay. And then from there, we can show this information is not on Google. This is exactly who got in last year. So students are like, yes, that's who I want to know. So the average GPA on a 4.0 scale at Stanford is a 396. Then you come over and you look at, if the student has a 3.5, they have about a 3% chance of getting in unless they have time to bring up their GPA. Then we can show them the average SAT and the average ACT score, which either if the student is below average, it may motivate them to test prep harder. If they are above average, it gives them a huge confidence boost. Then we can show families the average cost of attendance and how generous a school is or not. Then we help the student get really clear if this is a good fit for them. Because if a student wants to go into pre-med and they think Stanford is the school, and they find out that there is no pre-med or, there's just a general biology, they are not known for their sciences. Is this a good fit for that student? That is what we want them to understand, that not every school has every major, and we want to make sure that it has their top 3 potential majors in case they do decide to switch. Then from there, we can show the student and the family the essays they will need to write when they're a senior. You can see that there's 8, 9, 10, there's 15 essays to apply to Stanford. Here's the bonus for you on this call. Any optional essay is not optional if you really want to go to Stanford. So in a teenager's mind, it says optional. They don't do it. This is a problem, and this is the quickest way to get rejected from a college, is not doing the optional. So I can show students right now, if they're going to need to write 5 of these 7 prompts, and they do not have information that they can write an essay on, we map out what are they going to do to be able to write that essay when they're a senior. I spoke about the 10 activities, honors, and awards. That's coming up. And then they have all kinds of very important opportunities. We also provide scholarship opportunities and the most generous colleges. From there, we help the student and the family get really clear on what is the best college list to apply to, because you're going to want some dream schools, some reach. You're going to want some comfort schools that make sense, and you're going to want some safety schools. But for students, that's hundreds of hours of research. For us, we can let them know very quickly. We've either been there or we've done the research on it. Saves a ton of time and gives them a better outcome. From there, we help the student map out and do the heavy lifting. You can see that every college has their own way of doing applications. The private schools either have their own application or they use the Common App or Coalition app. UCs use the UC app, state schools use the state app, and some schools use their private app. The other thing you want to be mindful of is every school has different deadlines and due dates, and there is a strategy for this. If money or scholarships are important, you want to apply one way. If just getting in and you're happy to pay full price, apply another way. But all of these have things stuck to them. So in other words, when they apply and how they apply makes a big difference, as well as what is going to be needed and what is the deadline and due date for each of them. So we want students to know straight away, this is what they're faced with. Now it's just simply getting it done. You can see that some schools have very few things and some schools have a ton of things. This is the last part I'll share with you here. Early decision, students think, yes, I would like an early decision. That sounds fabulous. What they don't understand is if they get in, they must attend there, get rid of all of their other applications without knowing, and pay full price. Those are very critical that students truly just don't understand the ramifications. So we do all of this. This, if you were to do on your own, would probably take, I mean, I can't even imagine, 30 hours, 40 hours of research. We then help the student get clarity and map it out. So if we know that this is going to be attached to the student's cell phone, we know it's always going to be with them. You can see in November that this student has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 applications due. That cannot be procrastinated. So we help them to map out when are their essays need to be written, when do they need to send them to our editor, because we have professional editors that do not write the essay but polish the essay. And we help them to get really clear about what they want colleges to know in their application and in their essay. We also offer assessments for those students who truly are not sure what they want to major in or what career. We have an opportunity to guide them through an entire evaluation of who they are, why they matter, what's a good fit, career, what is the path to get there, and how much money does that career make, so they know, will they live the lifestyle that they're used to. I spoke a little bit about the essay tab that will send them a ton of time and money. So as you can see, those are some pretty amazing ways we get them through the process. Oh, I got another question. How is there time to do multiple extracurriculars and get those awards? My daughter's passion is softball. Just that one thing takes most of her outside school time. I get this all the time, and I totally understand. I played softball for the USA. It owns my life. I totally remember that. Both of my kids also played their sport in college. If they're not going to play their sport in college and they're not going to get a scholarship, you're going to want to help them to strike balance. If they are going for a scholarship of a D1 school, then obviously that is going to take a big portion of their time. What I encourage parents to do is have a student for 1 week keep a journal of how they spend every moment. What you will find is they have a lot of downtime. They have a lot of wasted time. They have a lot of time on their cell phone or surfing the net. And so colleges are definitely looking for what students are doing with their free time. That is a very important piece, because if other students can do it, why can't your student, is what they're thinking. So it's all about balance. The other thing is it's about prioritizing. If your student wants to go pre-med, they need a lot more community service hours than somebody who wants to go be a math teacher. So it's understanding, what does that student want? Because the last thing you want to do is just pick pre-med and not show example of why that student wants to do pre-med, or engineering or law or social work. The strategy is, right, that student have balance. And that's why colleges ask, what did you do? How many years did you do it? How many hours per week and how many hours per week? Because colleges want to know, can they handle having, academia as well as a social life? That is what they're going to need to get into college. So hopefully that answers a lot of your questions. I'm happy to stay on and answer additional questions. Again, the link for a complimentary discovery call with you and your family to talk about your specific situation, I'm happy to gift that to you. I would encourage you to do that. I have a best-selling book, How to Send Your Student to College Without Losing Your Mind or Your Money. And I'm happy to gift that book to you. If you want to drop your email in there, I will definitely share that book with you. So the best thing I can tell you is the question I get asked most often, when is the best time to start? The best time to start is now. And it could be super fun. It doesn't have to be do this, do this, do this. It could be going on a self-guided college tour, eating in the cafeteria. You don't even need an appointment. You can download the app to your phone and you can walk around and or take them to a college football game, whatever your family wants to support. They do need to understand by the time they're a senior, do they want a big school or a small school? Is College Ready a subscription model? No, we are not. We are get help as you need it. So we have do it yourself. We have 2 programs. One is Passion with Purpose, how to do one of those projects. The other one is College Ready Debt Free. I forgot to mention, we also help families lower their expected family contribution, understand what is on the FAFSA and what is not on the FAFSA, understand the CSS profile, and helping families to get the most scholarships available. For those of you who weren't on the call from the beginning, last year, our students, we had 51 seniors, they earned $17.6 million in scholarships. That is a lot of money per child, and that is what we're helping get families. Colleges have very deep pockets, and it's important that families understand, where do I get that money? So we do that as part of it. So we have 2 standalone programs. We have an online group program that's a year long. And then we have the College Ready Plan, which takes them from the day they start, which could be 8th grade, all the way until they leave for college. So our programs are set up for if you just want essay help, if you just want test strategy help, we're there to meet your needs. We're not trying to force you into doing anything. So I think that's a very different model. The other thing is the College Ready Plan is a 1-to-1 custom strategy. The online small group program is telling the student everything they need to be doing and giving them support and encouragement. And the do-it-yourself is at least giving them the information they need to be able to move forward. Oh, great. Here's some more. Can my husband listen to this recording? I love a copy of the book. Absolutely, Amy. I will have my assistant, Michelle, send you a copy of the recording so your husband or child can listen to this. I think it's important. And then Karen, do you help with figuring out the financial support every year as well as appealing, and how much is your program, and do you have sibling discount? Woo, that's a full one. I love it. Okay, so let me break it down. First question is, do you help with figuring out the financial support every year as well? If that's something that you want, yes. The most important thing that you'll want to know about that is that the FAFSA looks at the 2nd semester of the sophomore year and the 1st semester of the junior year. So you need to get your financial house in order before that, because that's what the FAFSA is going to look at. It's always 2 years behind you. So it's important that you know the FAFSA looks at this and they don't look at this. It's kind of like hiring a CPA. You could do your own taxes, or you hire a CPA who knows tax code and saves you a boatload of money. That is what I do, but I do not sell a financial product. So I'm not here to sell you insurance or whatever. I will tell you that the 529 plan is a very scary, scary, scary thing. And unfortunately, that's what everybody is taught to sell. I almost lost my son's full ride to Harvard because I was a great parent who had a 529. And as soon as they found out they wanted to take the scholarship away, I simply moved it to my second child, and he was able to keep a scholarship. So there's so much to this process. So definitely we can help. We do financial negotiations supporting you. We are nobody, but we can give you the form letters. We can give you the knowledge, the things to talk about and the things to ask. We can help your student get off the wait list. We can help your student prepare for the live interview. All of this we can do for every student. How much is the program, and do you have sibling discounts? Yes, we have sibling discounts. I have a lot of twins and triplets in my program, and I learned that is very important. The programs range from $495 to $10,000, depending on how many years you need it, what you need, and how much you want to be involved. If you want the all-inclusive plan, obviously there's more time or less time for you, and we take control of that. We do love including parents if they want to. Otherwise, we do a recording of every meeting and then send it to the parent so they can hear their child speak to an adult about what they want for their future. That is so incredibly valuable. So how we do our program is completely different than anybody else that I know of, because what we're really striving for is not just fitting a student into a brand name school. We really are looking for the best academic fit. Do they want to be the big fish in the small sea or the small fish in the big sea? I remember my son calling home one weekend to Harvard. He goes, "Mom, you're not going to believe this." I'm like, "Oh no, this doesn't sound good." He says, "My English class has 12 students. I'm like, "That's fantastic." And he goes, "One of us is going to get an A." And I'm like, oh, he had never had a B before. And he's like, "I'm okay getting a B, Mom, don't worry." And, and I was truly thankful that he was going to be okay with that. He was not going to push himself past his capacity or desire. Then we talk about the social fit. Where will they find their potential significant other? Where will they find their friends, their support group, that their family away from home? And then, of course, financially, we want the family to understand prior to them applying, will this school give scholarships? Will they not? Can they graduate in 4 years? Can they not? All of this is things you want to know before you apply. Using the mindset of, oh, we'll just wait and see where they get in and figure it out. That's why the world is in so much college debt and why people are not using the degree that they started in college. That is not how we do our program. We talk about with students their 5-year plan, their 10-year plan. We help them to become financially literate by understanding the cost of a college degree and how long they will have to work for free if they take out a loan. They don't want to work for free. So we do have those fun and challenging conversations. Becky, I would love the recording too. Absolutely. I'm happy to share that. Again, if you ladies are looking for me to speak with your family and talk about what your particular situation is and how you can navigate this process, please go ahead and click the link to my schedule and let's go ahead and have that conversation. So I'm super happy to stay on and answer any more questions. There is a lot to this process, and it just gets more complicating and more expensive every single year, it seems. And so the more I can help you understand now, the better off your student's going to be. Are there any other questions? Very helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. I'll drop the link again. Maybe you weren't on when I dropped it the first time. So it's the one highlighted in blue. You just click directly on that. It takes you to my personal calendar and lets you pick the day and time that we want to chat. Again, it's complimentary for you spending the time with me. Amy, you're so welcome. I hopefully you got so much out of this and have a lot better ease of mind. And just know that I'm here to support you and your family. If there's anything that you need regarding to, what do they want to do for their career? Hard at 17 and 18 to answer that question. So we spend some time really digging into it. Unfortunately, high schools don't have that in their curriculum. And if the parent doesn't lead that role, they'll never quite understand, how do I get an internship or a research project? So I guess that's all the questions for today. I will stay on. Please feel free to go ahead and disconnect. If you want to continue to chat, I'm here for you. Otherwise, that's it for today. Thank you so much for your time.